for. Senator Lummis.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is a great hearing. Thank you for doing it. Mr. Kyle, we know that not all vehicle miles traveled have the same wear and tear on the roads. We haven't had a cost allocation study since 1997. Can you talk about the type of information that Congress needs to get from a more recent study?
So the cost allocation study is in fact quite old, as you noted. I think the basic points about the cost from past cost allocation studies have been that the cost of passenger vehicles is mostly felt through congestion in large urban areas, and then through the environmental externalities from gasoline consumption. And for heavy trucks, it's mostly based on pavement damage from those trucks.
Yeah.
I think it would be enormously helpful to the policy community if there were a more recent cost allocation study.
Thank you. Should there be, and this to Ms. Herndon, should there be some sort of a congestion pricing or some other mechanism that could reflect those differences?
Well, whether there should or should not is a decision, obviously, for you and your colleagues. Under the current system, though, consumers don't basically see the costs of their contributions to congestion. We all sit in congested highways, but the users don't bear those costs that they impose on other people.
Ms. Herndon, have you seen any formula that reflects congestion pricing?
So the work that we are doing in our demonstration pilots, we are exploring if this technology of a user-based fee could also be used as a congestion mitigation approach. So the view that we have is our cars are changing. As Senator Carper said, the times are changing, our cars are changing, our drivers are changing. So as we change the way that we potentially fund transportation, what other concerns do we have? So what we've seen so far, we did a proof of concept looking at cordon pricing around a city to say, could the technology of a distance-based fee handle bringing in different variable prices on time of day or location? And it looks like the technology can, so we need to do more work there. Again, the idea is, how can we simplify how people pay for transportation? How can we look at collecting that revenue in a cost-efficient manner? So we're using the grants, again, that this committee put in place to really kick the tires on this concept. So we have some preliminary finding. I'm happy to submit more of our findings when we're finished with them to this committee, but we got a little bit more exploration to do there.
Thank you. We'd love to see that when it's available. Mr. Poole, I was really pleased to see you advocated for removing the mass transit account from the Highway Trust Fund in your testimony. Is there a user fee model out there that we could apply to mass transportation so highway users are not subsidizing mass transportation and thereby removing adequate funding from highways and bridges?
Thank you, Senator. The problem is that the costs of operating and building and operating and maintaining our transportation system are vastly higher than the amount of revenue that gets generated from passenger fees. So in the research community, one idea that's looked at a lot is something called value capture, real estate value capture. For example, in a major city like New York or in Washington, D.C., where you have subway stations, trying to, you can actually measure that there's significant increases in the land value of being located in proximity to those stations. But yet that value is captured by the real estate owners, not by the transit system. By contrast, the systems developed and operated in Hong Kong and Tokyo and other major cities in Japan have built-in value capture as part of the funding and financing mechanism. And so the problem is, since we haven't done that, and most of these facilities already are built, it's difficult politically to all of a sudden say, well, you guys have benefited from real estate value increases, now we're going to take some of it. But that is a mechanism that actually would generate revenue if we could figure out a way to do it. Pretty substantial revenue on an ongoing basis.
Thank you for that. And for any of you, has anyone ever looked at a user fee tax on tires? I know that there's some tax on tires for commercial vehicles, but what about passenger vehicles? A user fee on tires, it could be assessed either at the point of sale or earlier in the manufacturing process. That would capture electric vehicles as well as gas vehicles. So does anyone have any information on that kind of a concept? Has anybody studied that?
Dr. Call, do you have any
haven't.
thoughts on that? I'm pretty sure there's a federal tax, excise tax on the trucks, large trucks pay on tires. I think, Dr. Call, is that true?
Yes, there is a tax, federal truck tire tax for commercial vehicles. We have not looked at that for passenger vehicles.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
All right, Senator Lomas.